Welcome back, everybody, to the deep dive. Excited for this one. I think it's going to really resonate with a lot of you out there.
Yeah, for sure.
Building wealth through business acquisition. Sounds kind of fancy, right?
Yeah.
Like something only like big corporations, or super rich people.
Right.
But I think the truth is, acquiring an existing business,
Yeah.
even a small one, could be a fantastic way
Absolutely.
for really anyone to build wealth.
Totally agree. I think one of the biggest things that we miss is that there's so much potential in these everyday businesses that we see all around us.
Totally.
We get so focused on, the flashy startups
Right.
and tech companies, but, those ordinary businesses like your local bakery or dry cleaner, they can be like gold mines in disguise.
That's such a good point.
Yeah.
So how can we as small business owners, maybe even just someone who's like driven to build wealth,
Right.
how do we tap into this potential?
I think one of the key takeaways for me is that brand is so powerful.
Oh,
You
yeah.
hear this all the time, but like in the context of acquisitions,
Hmm.
a strong brand can be your most powerful weapon,
Okay.
even against like the giant private equity firms out there.
How can a small business compete with all those resources
Yeah.
and the reach of a big firm?
Technology can be replicated, systems can be copied.
Mm-hmm.
A brand that like resonates with people, that creates a connection.
Right.
That's unique. That's really difficult to duplicate.
Right.
And I remember reading this story about this window cleaning company
Okay.
that was just like absolutely dominating their market.
Wow.
Not because they had some crazy new cleaning technique, but because they built a brand that people loved.
Right.
They called themselves the Hot Boy Window Cleaning Company.
Okay. I am definitely going to remember that.
Yeah.
But would that kind of branding work for any service?
I think it's a great example of how you can think outside the box.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
they took something that was like as normal as window cleaning and made it into like an experience.
Right.
And the takeaway is not to copy their exact model, but to understand the principle. A strong brand, it creates a story. It creates an emotion, a connection.
Right.
That goes way beyond just the product or service itself.
Totally. It's not just about what you do. It's about how you make people feel. Yeah. And if you can create that
Exactly.
emotional connection,
Mhm.
that's when you got something really valuable.
Totally.
And I feel like that's even more important nowadays, right?
Absolutely. In a world where, everything's going digital and automated,
Right.
that human connection, that sense of authenticity,
Right.
that comes with a good brand is like more valuable than ever.
Totally.
And so, one of the things that might surprise you is like one of the most effective ways to find businesses to acquire is surprisingly simple.
Okay.
Just talk to local business owners.
Really. Just straight up ask them.
Yeah.
Huh. I guess the whole concept of like acquiring a business always seemed kind of intimidating to me.
I get that.
I always thought you need like a team of lawyers and tons of money to make it happen.
Of course, like due diligence is important and the legal stuff is important.
Right.
But that initial stage can be as simple as like just having a conversation.
Oh, okay.
These business owners, they've poured their heart and soul into
Right.
their businesses.
Right.
And so expressing genuine interest in their business, their story that can be like incredibly flattering,
Right.
but it can often like open doors that you wouldn't expect.
So I should just walk into my favorite coffee shop and say, hey,
Yeah.
love your lattes. Want to sell me your business?
Maybe not quite like that.
Okay.
But think about it. You probably frequent businesses in your community that you genuinely admire,
Right.
places you see potential in.
Yeah.
Why not just strike up a conversation with the owner?
Right.
Tell them that you love their business and ask them about their future plans.
Right.
You might be surprised at what you discover. And this also highlights another important point. Business acquisition isn't just a rich person's game.
I think a lot of people think that.
Yeah.
Like they see these huge mergers and acquisitions happening.
Right.
They think, well, that's not for me. I don't have millions of dollars to throw around.
Right.
So what is it that's for us?
So that's where this concept of micro private equity comes in.
Okay.
So it's about taking the same principles and strategies that those big firms use,
Right.
but applying them on a smaller scale.
Right.
So like you don't need to go out and buy a skyscraper. You can invest in like a single apartment building. It's about thinking like an investor, even if you're starting small. And in a lot of cases, you don't even need a ton of cash up front.
Now, this is what I think is going to get interesting for our listeners, because I know a lot of people listening are probably thinking, okay, well, that sounds great, but I don't have a mountain of cash.
Yeah.
So how does this micro private equity thing actually work?
So think of it like a three-legged stool. You can acquire a business using cash or expertise or sweat equity. So maybe you've got some savings, maybe you've got some specialized skills like in marketing or finance, or maybe you're just willing to put in the work to help grow the business.
Okay.
All of these things have value.
So even if I don't have a lot of money, I can still buy a business
Yeah.
by using my skills or time.
Exactly. The key is to get creative.
Right.
And think about what you bring to the table. Do you have marketing skills, financial know-how?
Yeah.
Are you great at operations or managing people?
Right.
All of these skills, you can leverage them to acquire a business.
That's cool.
Yeah, and this can be especially appealing to those who are already
Yeah.
running their own business or working as a freelancer.
Right.
You're already building valuable experience that you can use to acquire and grow another business.
This is such good information for everyone listening.
I hope so.
And, I bet a lot of people listening right now are thinking, man, this is amazing.
Yeah,
I need to share this with my friends and colleagues.
for sure. I completely agree. The more we share this knowledge, the more we empower each other
Right.
to explore these alternative paths to building wealth.
I love that. And hey, if you are enjoying this deep dive,
Yeah,
don't forget to hit that like button and share it with your network.
please do.
I want to ask you,
Yeah.
when you acquire a business, especially using this micro-private equity approach, what are some of the things that you should be looking for
Yeah.
to make sure it's a good investment?
One of the first things that I always look at is their customer base.
Okay, they're existing customers.
Yep.
Why is that so important?
A loyal customer base is like gold.
Oh, okay.
It means that there's already built-in demand
Right.
for that product or service, which is a huge advantage.
Makes sense.
You're not starting from scratch,
Right.
trying to convince people to buy from you.
That's a really good point. I never thought about it like that.
Yeah.
So you're saying instead of just focusing on the,
Yeah.
financials, I should also be thinking about
Right.
the strength of the relationships that the business
Exactly.
already has.
That leads us to another crucial aspect is the people.
The employees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The management team,
Right.
they're the heart and soul of any business.
You can have the best product in the world,
Yeah.
but if you don't have a great team,
Yeah.
you're going to have a tough time.
Absolutely. When you're considering acquiring a business,
Mm-hmm.
it's essential to assess the team's culture, their skills, and their overall morale.
Right.
A positive, motivated team is a huge asset,
Right.
while a team that's disengaged or operating under like a fear-based management style
Right.
can be a big red flag.
How can you tell if a business has a positive work environment? Just from observing
Yeah.
and talking to people.
You learn a lot just by paying attention.
Okay.
Do the employees seem happy,
Mm-hmm.
engaged?
Right.
Are they treated with respect?
Mm-hmm.
Do they communicate openly?
Right.
These are all signs of a healthy workplace.
That reminds me of something that we touched on earlier. This whole idea of moving away from
Right.
fear-based management.
Yeah,
I feel like that would be excellently important
absolutely.
when you're acquiring a business.
Right,
You're coming in as a new leader, and you really want to
right.
build that trust with the team.
Totally. And it's not just about being nice. It's about creating the culture where people feel safe to take risks,
Right.
to share ideas,
Yeah.
and to contribute their best work.
Right.
When people feel valued and respected, they're more likely to go above and beyond.
I love that.
And that's what ultimately drives success.
It's about empowering your team
Totally.
and making them feel like they're part of something bigger.
Yeah.
What this whole approach to business acquisition, it's not just about making money.
It's not just about the money.
Right. It's about building something meaningful, something that has a positive impact.
You hit the nail on the head.
Right.
When you acquire a business, you're not just buying assets.
Right.
You're becoming a steward of something that's often very intertwined with the local community.
I love that.
Yeah, and that comes with a responsibility to nurture and grow that business in a way that benefits everyone involved.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That makes this whole concept so appealing.
Right.
It's not just about personal gain. It's about making a difference.
Totally. And I think that sense of purpose is what drives so many entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
It's not just about the bottom line. It's about building something that you're proud of, something that creates value for others.
It's funny. We often think of acquiring a business as this really corporate, almost cold transaction.
Right.
But when you look at it through this lens, it becomes so much more human and so much more connected to our values and aspirations.
Totally agree. And this brings me to another point. I think it's really crucial for anyone considering acquiring a business.
Okay.
Don't be afraid to think big, even if you're starting small. And what I mean by that is once you've successfully acquired one business, consider the possibility of acquiring more businesses within the same niche.
So like building your own little empire. I love that. But isn't that really risky?
It's definitely something that requires careful planning
Yeah.
and execution.
Right.
But there's some huge advantages to owning multiple businesses in the same industry. For example, you can leverage economies of scale.
What does that mean?
Meaning you can negotiate better prices with suppliers.
Right.
You can share marketing resources, and you can really streamline operations.
Okay.
So imagine if you owned a few coffee shops in the same city.
Right.
You could buy your coffee beans in bulk.
Right.
At a lower price.
Okay.
You could use the same marketing campaigns across all the locations. And you could even share staff if needed.
Oh, wow. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It's like taking those principles of efficiency and applying them to your business portfolio.
Yeah.
And you also get a stronger brand presence, right?
Right. You become known for that thing, whether it's coffee or fitness or pet grooming.
Right.
And that recognition can be a huge asset when you're competing with those larger companies.
This is such valuable information, and I know our listeners are loving this.
Absolutely.
Before we jump to our next section,
Yeah.
I just wanted to remind everybody to hit that button and share this deep dive
Absolutely.
with anyone who might benefit from these insights.
The more we spread this knowledge, the more we empower each other to create wealth and build businesses that make a positive impact.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Thanks.
One thing that comes up when we talk about entrepreneurship is age.
Yeah.
People think, oh, I'm too young, I'm too old
Right.
to start a business or to buy one.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that?
I think that's a limiting belief that holds so many people back.
Okay.
I've seen incredible success stories from entrepreneurs of all ages.
Right.
Some people find their passion early in life, and they build successful businesses right out of college.
Okay.
While others discover that entrepreneurial spirit later on.
Right.
And they bring a wealth of experience and wisdom to their ventures.
It's so inspiring.
Yeah.
It's never too late to pursue your dreams.
Exactly.
Maybe you've got years of experience in a particular industry. That gives you a unique edge.
Right.
Or maybe you've just gotten to a point in your life where you're ready for a new challenge.
Exactly.
Either way, age shouldn't be a barrier.
Absolutely. And I think sometimes those life experiences, those challenges that we face along the way, they can actually become our greatest assets.
Okay.
They teach us resilience, adaptability,
Right.
and a deeper understanding of ourselves and what we're truly capable of.
I love that. It's not about how many years you've lived. It's about the mindset.
Yeah, totally.
And speaking of mindset, something that really struck me throughout our conversation is this emphasis on not just building wealth, but building something meaningful, something that you're passionate about.
Yes, it's about finding that sweet spot where your skills, your interests, and the needs of the markets intersect. And when you're genuinely excited about what you're doing,
Right.
it doesn't feel like work.
Right.
And that passion, it's contagious. It inspires your team. It attracts customers.
Right.
And it ultimately drives success.
It's all about finding that thing
Totally.
that lights you up, that gets you excited to get up every morning to tackle those challenges.
Absolutely.
That brings me to a final thought that I want to leave our listeners with.
Okay, cool.
We talked about the steps,
Yeah.
Involved in acquiring a business. But at the end of the day,
Right.
it all starts with a simple decision,
Okay.
the decision to take action,
Right.
to step outside your comfort zone and explore the possibilities.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
It's easy to get caught up
Right.
in overthinking every little detail.
Yeah.
But sometimes you've just got to take that leap of death.
Right.
And I think the beauty of this approach,
Okay.
focusing on smaller
Yeah.
locally owned businesses, is that it feels a lot more approachable. You're not trying to buy some big multinational corporation. You're connecting with a fellow entrepreneur, someone who's built something special in your community.
That is a great point.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up this awesome deep dive,
Cool.
I want to issue a challenge to all of our listeners.
What is it?
Think about a local business you really admire, a place that you genuinely enjoy going to. Maybe it's a family-run restaurant with that amazing food, or that bookstore with that quirky owner,
Right.
or even that little vintage clothing shop that you stumbled upon. Make a commitment to yourself the next time you visit that business. Strike up a conversation with the owner.
Cool.
Express your appreciation. Tell them how much you love their business,
Mm.
and simply ask them about their future plans.
You never know what might come of that conversation.
Right.
It could be the start of a great partnership.
Yeah.
A chance to learn from someone who's been in the trenches.
Mhm.
Or maybe even the first step
Yeah.
on your journey of micro, private equity, and entrepreneurial success.
And even if it doesn't lead to an acquisition,
Yeah.
you still made someone's day.
Exactly.
You made a connection, and who knows?
Yeah,
You might have planted a seed
Mhm.
that could blossom into something amazing.
totally. It's all about taking that first step,
Right.
putting yourself out there and seeing what happens.
So true. If you enjoyed this deep dive
Yeah.
and found it valuable, please don't forget to hit that like button and share it with your friends,
Yes.
share it with your friends, your family.
Anyone who might benefit. Let's spread the knowledge and empower each other to create wealth
Mm,
and build businesses that make a positive impact on the world.
beautifully said. Thank you for joining us on this journey.
Of course.
And until next time, keep diving deep
Yeah,
and exploring those hidden gems.
for sure.
All of you.
Absolutely. Yeah, it means there's already a built-in demand for
Right.
that product or service.
Right.
And that's huge.
It is huge.
You're not starting from scratch,
Right.
trying to convince people to buy from you.
Right? That's a really good point. I never thought of it that way. So instead of just focusing on the financials, I should be thinking about the
Right.
strength of the relationship.
Exactly. And that leads us to another really crucial aspect. The people.
The employees.
Yeah.
Okay.
The management team.
Right.
They're the heart and soul
They really are.
of any business.
You can have the best product
Yeah.
in the world,
Right.
but if you don't have a good team, it's going to be tough.
Absolutely. So when you're considering acquiring a business,
Right.
it's really essential to assess the team's culture, their skills,
Okay.
and their overall morale.
Right.
A positive, motivated team
Yeah.
is a huge asset,
Totally.
while a team that's disengaged or operating under like a fear-based management style, that can be a big red flag.
Huge red flag. How can you tell if a business has a positive work environment? Just by
Yeah.
observing or talking to people.
You can learn a lot by just paying attention.
Okay.
Do the employees seem happy?
Right.
Engaged?
Mhm.
Are they treated with respect?
Right.
Do they communicate openly? Those are all signs of a healthy workplace.
That reminds me of something that we touched on earlier. This whole idea of moving away from
Yeah.
fear-based management.
Right.
I feel like that's especially important
It's huge.
when you're acquiring a business. You're coming in as this new leader,
Right.
and you really want to build trust.
Right. It's not just about being nice. It's about creating a culture
Right.
where people feel safe to take risks, share ideas,
Right.
contribute their best work.
Mhm.
When people feel valued and respected,
Right.
they're much more likely to go above and beyond.
I love that.
And that's what ultimately drives success.
It's about empowering your team
Absolutely.
and making them feel
Yeah.
like they're a part of something bigger. With this whole approach
Yeah.
to business acquisition, it's not just about
It's not just about the money.
making money.
Right.
It's about building something meaningful, something that has
You hit the nail on the head.
a positive impact.
When you acquire a business, you're not just buying a set of assets.
Right.
You're becoming a steward of something
Right.
that's often deeply intertwined with the local community.
I love that.
Yeah, and that comes with a responsibility to
Right.
nurture and grow that business
Right.
in a way that benefits everyone involved.
I think that's amazing.
Yeah.
It makes this whole concept so
Yeah.
appealing.
Right.
It's not just about
Yeah.
personal gain.
Exactly.
It's about making a difference.
And I think that sense of purpose
Right.
is what drives a lot of entrepreneurs. It's
Right.
not just about the bottom line.
Right.
It's about building something that you're proud of that creates value for others.
It's funny. We always think of acquiring a business as this,
Yeah.
really corporate, cold transaction.
Right.
But when you look at it through this lens,
Right.
it's so much more
It is.
human, and it's so much more connected
Yeah.
to our values and aspirations.
Couldn't agree more. And this brings me to another point
Okay.
that I think it's really crucial for anyone who's considering acquiring a business.
Okay.
Don't be afraid to think big,
Oh, yeah.
even if you're starting small.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is
Right.
once you've successfully acquired one business,
Right.
think about the possibility
Mhm.
of acquiring more businesses
Okay.
in the same niche.
So like building your own little empire.
Yeah, exactly.
But isn't that incredibly risky?
It's definitely something that requires careful planning
Yeah.
and execution.
Okay.
But there are some significant advantages to owning multiple businesses
Right.
in the same industry.
Okay.
For example, you can leverage economies of scale,
Like, what does that mean?
meaning You can negotiate better prices with suppliers.
Right.
You can share marketing resources, and you can streamline operations.
Okay.
So imagine you owned a few coffee shops in the same city.
Right.
You can buy your coffee beans in bulk
Right.
at a lower price.
Right.
You can use the same marketing campaigns across all the locations.
Right.
And you could even share staff.
Oh, wow. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It's like taking the principles of efficiency and applying it to
Exactly.
your business portfolio.
Exactly.
And you get a stronger brand presence, too.
Right. You become known for that one thing.
Right.
Whether it's coffee or fitness or pet grooming.
Right.
And that recognition can be a huge asset when you're competing with those larger companies.
That is such great information. I know our listeners are loving this.
Awesome.
Before we go to our next section, I just wanted to remind everyone to hit that button.
Yes, please.
And share this deep dive.
Yes.
With anyone who might benefit from these insights.
I absolutely agree. The more we spread this knowledge, the more we empower each other to create wealth and build businesses that make a positive impact.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Thanks.
So one thing that I think comes up a lot when we talk about entrepreneurship is age.
Right.
People think, oh, I'm too young, or too old to start a business or to buy one.
Absolutely.
What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's a limiting belief that holds a lot of people back. I've seen incredible success stories from entrepreneurs of all ages.
Yeah.
Some people find their passion really early in life and build successful businesses right out of college, while others discover that entrepreneurial spirit a little bit later on, and they bring a wealth of experience and wisdom to their ventures. It's never too late.
To pursue your dreams.
Exactly.
Maybe you've got years of experience in a particular industry that gives you that unique edge.
Right.
Or maybe you've just gotten to a point in your life where you're ready for a new challenge.
Absolutely.
Either way, age shouldn't be a barrier.
Age is not a barrier. And I think sometimes those life experiences, those challenges that we face along the way, they can actually become our greatest assets.
Right.
They teach us resilience, adaptability, and a deeper understanding of ourselves and what we're capable of.
I love that perspective. It's not about how many years you've lived. It's about the mindset you bring to the table.
Yeah.
And speaking of mindset, something that really struck me throughout our conversation today was this emphasis on not just building wealth, but building something meaningful, something that you're passionate about.
It's about finding that sweet spot where your skills, your interests, and the needs of the market all intersect.
Right.
And when you're genuinely excited about what you're doing, it doesn't feel like work.
Totally.
And that passion, it's contagious. It inspires your team. It attracts customers. And it ultimately drives success.
So true. It's about finding that thing that lights you up.
Totally.
That gets you excited to wake up in the morning.
Absolutely.
To tackle those challenges.
For sure.
And this brings me to a final thought I want to leave our listeners with today.
Cool.
We've talked a lot about the practical steps involved in, buying a business.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it really all starts with a simple decision.
Right.
The decision to take action.
Absolutely.
To step outside your comfort zone and explore the possibilities out there.
I think you're absolutely right. It's so easy to get caught up in analysis paralysis, overthinking every little detail.
Right.
But sometimes you've just got to take that leap of faith.
Right.
And I think that the beauty of this approach, focusing on these smaller, locally owned businesses, it makes it feel a lot more approachable.
Right.
You're not trying to go out and buy some multinational corporation.
Right.
You're connecting with a fellow entrepreneur, someone who's built something really special in your community.
That is a great point.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up this awesome deep dive,
cool.
I want to issue a challenge to all of you listening out there.
Okay, what is it?
Think about a local business you admire, a place that you love going to. Maybe it's that family-run restaurant with that amazing food, or that bookstore with that quirky owner.
Right.
Maybe it's that vintage clothing shop you stumbled upon the other day.
Yeah, I love that.
Make a commitment to yourself.
Okay.
The next time you visit that business, strike up a conversation with the owner.
Yeah.
Express your appreciation.
Right.
Tell them how much you love their business and just ask them about their future plans.
You just never know what could come from that conversation.
Right.
It could be the start of a really cool partnership.
Right.
A chance to learn from somebody who's been there, done that, or maybe even the first step on your journey of micro private equity and entrepreneurial success.
And even if it doesn't lead to an acquisition, you've made someone's day.
Absolutely.
You've made a connection. Who knows?
Yeah.
You might have planted a seed that could blossom into something amazing down the road.
It's all about taking that first step, putting yourself out there, and just seeing what happens.
So if you enjoyed this deep dive and found it valuable, please don't forget to hit that like button and share it with your friends, your family, or anyone who might benefit from these insights.
Please do. Let's spread the knowledge, empower each other to create wealth and build businesses that make a positive impact on the world.
What a great way to end this deep dive. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey.
Absolutely.
Until next time, keep diving deep
Yeah.
and exploring all those hidden gems all around you.